All right, joined today by Coach Jamie Johnson, Athletics Director, Head Football Coach Hannah-Pamplico. Coach, thanks so much for joining us today on Palmetto Preps The Show. Something new we want to do and sort of just hit some coaches and some players and some figures around the state. How's everything going there?
It's pretty good. It was great to get back started yesterday. So
Yeah,
actually see our kids. So a lot of positive going on. We're excited. Get ready to get kicked off.
yeah. So that's where I was going to take you, sort of, with our first part of this conversation. Is just wanted to ask you, about the decisions that went into when to reopen and everything. Obviously, we know that the high school league left it up to the districts, and so that was going to be my first question: is where you guys are at on workouts. So if you can give us a little bit more detail on that about you guys starting up and how that process has been.
Well, I definitely think it's probably been easier for the smaller schools to get started. We split them up into we have four different groups in our varsity, and then we go the evening session is our JV kids. So
Yeah.
we've been able to kind of do four groups and socially distance and use different facilities. So, it's worked well so far. At least we get to see them. So I'm happy that the high school league at least let us start back. So,
Right.
there's a lot of negativity out there, but we're going to be positive about it. We're going to do what we can control. And, hopefully we still got ball when it's all said and done.
That's right. So, talking to some people, around Skiza, they're in a different category too, but they're in that small school category. They've got a smaller number of kids, like some of the smaller high school league teams. And their current line of thinking, it seems, is they're going to try to go into either a phase 2 or a 1.1, I guess you could call it, on June 15th or so.
Yeah.
Where they're introducing equipment. Maybe they're doing 7-on-7 at that point, maybe a few days later. Is there any guidance at all as to when the next sort of phase for you guys is in the high school league?
No, I mean they left it up that it would be 10 workout sessions or 2 calendar weeks.
Yep.
When you could start introducing a ball and limited touching of the ball, whatever. So a lot of the stuff we've been doing is you know the fundamentals, running routes and steps and everything without a ball. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's kind of been good to go back and refocus on the small stuff.
Yeah.
Which you do every year anyway. But what we found is it's been kind of great because our kids were hungry to come back. So,
Mm-hmm.
our culture here is pretty strong, I think. So, with the kids wanting to come back, we've been able to get a lot more kind of conditioning done and get a lot more fundamentals done. So it's been very encouraging to do that. Hopefully, we get to a phase 2. That would be nice. And I've talked to a couple of friends that are head coaches in Skiza, like Coach Floyd at Lawrence Manning, and if they do let us get back into it, we talked about doing some 7-on-7s between our two teams, for example. So
Yep. What you mentioned your kids wanting to get back into it after such a long layoff. What, 2.5, 3 months, something like that. What kind of shape are your guys in? Has that been a bigger transition than normal, you think?
well, you can definitely tell the ones that were doing the doing the workouts at home and
Right.
running and everything else, whatever. But
Yeah.
basically, our big lineman group or whatever, they've been hitting it hard, and then we kind of did military groups, what we're calling like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So our Alpha group is a lot of our older wide receivers and quarterbacks and backs, and they've actually been very surprising too. So the young ones are struggling, but we'll get them caught up hopefully.
Yeah. Um, you know, Looking forward to the season, putting you on the spot just a little bit here, maybe, and I don't know is an acceptable answer, at a time like this, especially, but with you being an athletics director in particular, it's why I wanted to ask you this. Obviously, we're in a position in the state where, you know, teams like baseball teams, to just use an example, lost their season. So obviously, a big revenue driver for high school athletic departments is football, the football gate. So how are you guys, what are you looking at as far as modeling, hey, what can we get in terms of fans in the stands? Do you feel like there'll definitely be fans in the stands? Will there be less? Will you be able to distance? I mean, just all those factors in once. If you could just speak on that a little bit.
Well, we've kind of floated some plans, just kind of looking down the road. Like we had a good plan before the guidelines were in place, but we're kind of looking at, okay, well, if they do limit fans, how are you going to do it fairly and everything? So what we've talked about is maybe pre-selling tickets to parents, giving kind of parents first shot at it, first dibs. Obviously, essential personnel, your trainers, your emergency management, all that, like let them in first and then go from there. But if we had to limit it, we would try to work with the teams on our schedule to maybe get them some pre-sale tickets as well, so that they can get people in as well. But we've kind of talked about maybe it has to be parents that at that point, but hopefully they let back in and we're all good. But because as you said, I mean, high school athletics is driven. I mean, you have to have fans in the stands to survive. So I just worry about everybody's being in a budget crunch, if not. So hopefully get back to it. Speculations all over the place. Only play region games or only, I try to look at the positive and say, hey, listen, we'll get it figured out, and the high school league will have a good plan moving forward.
Yeah. So one other thing related to fans in the stands, there's been a lot of talk about really, and I guess this will come into play at high school level too, but at the college level and pros, liability. You look at Disney and how they're reopening, and they're just basically going sort of just, hey, if you come in here, you sort of know the risk. Is there a thought? I guess number one, will you guys have to work in, or the high school league, whoever it may be, have to work in some type of disclaimer or signage or whatever it may be, just to let people know that? And secondly, could that mean that if you do that, maybe that ups the number of people that maybe you're allowed to have full stands or close to it?
Oh, I totally agree. We've kind of, our superintendent, he does a great job. And he's kind of alluded to that as well. Like, hey, you can kind of enter at your own risk if you think are going to do, when we phased back in yesterday and opened back up athletics for workouts, we sent the form home, kids signed it, they all bought it back. So a parent hasn't denied yet a kid being able to come and work out. So there might be a couple young kids maybe, but we've seen, not a lot of, holding them back. So I think in our community, especially, we're a small town, you're kind of limited, you're kind of isolated anyway. I think that would be something to look at is, hey, if you come in, you enter at your own risk. If you get it, you just kind of got to go from there.
Yeah, sure. All right, so I want to move away from that a little bit. In the last part of the talk, I want to let you actually talk about some football, because I know that, all this has been going on is something everybody has to deal with, but you're a positive guy. We'll just go as if you're having a whole season. Give us a little bit on your team and just, how you feel about these guys. Obviously, you're losing a guy, like Devin Mincy, for example, which I'm sure is a significant loss. But tell us about, maybe some of the guys you're going to have to replace, some of the guys you got coming back, and just how you feel about your squad right now as you resume workouts.
Well, we definitely, like, numbers probably isn't as high as we've had on the varsity squad, but our quality of depth, I think, may be improved. We have more guys like on the sideline that can help. Very athletic. Up front, we still have Grayson Stone. We're probably going to move him around a little bit, maybe move him to center, but he's a 6'5" lineman as well. Good looking. North Greenville and some other ones are, already on him. Jordan Lawson at nose guard, who will also play some guard for us. He's 6'3", 345. So, he's a big one. So he's going to be. We're moving to a 3-4 on defense, so we're really going to. He's going to be the cog up front on the defensive side of the ball. As far as moving forward too, Davian Coaxum's as good wide receiver as I've ever coached. The only problem with him is he's 5'5", so a lot of schools, see 5'5" and they don't want to take a shot, but he also plays both ways for us and plays corner and was tied in the PD for most interceptions last year. So that tells you what kind of athlete he is, even though he's 5'5". People try to pick on him, but he always stands up to the challenge. We're excited about some of our newcomers as well. Cyrus Ellison's joining us from the basketball team, 6'4", basketball player, going to play receiver and safety for us. So we're excited about him adding him into the fold. Big hands, long, rangy. Xander Poston is joining from the basketball team as well. Ran point guard for us a lot on the basketball team. So we got some pieces. Floyd Ellison will carry the rock for us and carry the load a lot on the offensive side of the ball. So hopefully we can try to get him 20 to 25 carries, 30 carries a game. And if that's the case, then I think we'll be in a lot of games. So the region will be tough. Our schedule's pretty tough, a good mixture of 1, 2, and 3A teams. And so I just hope we can get back to it. As long as we can stay healthy, I think we've got a shot in most of the games we play.
Good deal. All right. Well, Coach Johnson, hey, I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with me, especially with the busyness of trying to get back to actual ball for the first time in a while. Good luck to you guys and your squad as you transition back into workouts and getting the ball in your hands, in your guys' hands at some point. And we wish you the best of luck this season. Thanks again for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for all y'all do for high school football.
Absolutely. Good to hear from you.